Hey everyone, massive update today in the China internet space. NIO is up around 12% by the time I'm recording. Most of the other big internet names like Alibaba, Jingdong, Baidu and so on also up 4% or more. So this video I'm going to explain the reason why that's the case today, and then stick till the very end where I'll also give you more information on NIO Stock specifically and where I think it's going to trade. Now let's first talk, of course, what's the reason that China internet is up today. Well, here you have it, the headline: Cathie Wood says her flagship innovation fund has completely exited China. This is the headline that we got on Friday, and of course this is why everyone's buying China today. So now that we have the answer, you can close this video and go on. Well, not so quick, of course. This is not the real reason in my point of view, although I would say it is kind of interesting, the timing that Cathie Wood is coming out with this after selling all of her shares for quite a while, actually. Well, maybe this is a separate topic. After speaking to Cathie Wood for a couple of times about China, I think I possibly know what is the real reason she's out of the space. But let's talk about a couple of more real reasons why the whole China tech sector, including Alibaba, NIO and so on, is up. Well, first of all, I posted this one. I've seen that the European asset manager Amundi has an entire team on the ground currently doing due diligence. And this one is quite special. For example, they're meeting here with the Chinese regulators. And you got to know that Amundi is the biggest European asset manager. They've got more than $2 trillion under management. I've talked, I think, in my Patreon community before about the fact that the CIO, with whom I'm connected on LinkedIn, actually posted that he is shifting money out of the US and into Chinese names because he thinks there is the larger growth potential. However, this still seems to be kind of a due diligence progress here, but they're now doing the right thing. They're on the ground, speaking to the regulators, get a real feeling, not reading only the stuff which is in the media, and rather talk to people and get their own views. So if it's Amundi picking up some of these names today, I don't know. Maybe they're coming a little bit later because they might be one of the more conservative asset managers, who knows. But definitely they are interested in the space. And frankly, if they are on the ground, then Wall Street is on the ground as well, and many more asset managers. This is just one of the examples of what's currently going on in the background. And now what might be the real trigger for today's event, and what I actually spoke about on the weekend, is that today we had a couple of meetings and announcements by Chinese government bodies and ministries and regulators. And, you know, it's Mr. Xi himself who's now getting involved, and frankly lots of investors have been actually waiting by a signal top down. We had many announcements before where we got some messages by ministries and so on, basically saying, yeah, we're supporting the private space, but people were not buying into that until President Xi comes out and says something. And if you want to get up to date, I recommend reading China Last Night, written by Brendan Ahan and the whole KWeb team. A better summary, I would say, how this was really perceived by investors is, for example, here by this private banker was tweeting about today's Politburo meeting. Capital market, from a steady market to promote a market activity. Property, no mention of housing, is for living and not for speculation. So this was one of the slogans where everyone thought like China is going back into the Stone Ages, because China actually wants to deleverage the housing sector and putting in 3 red lines, so a couple of measurements in order to cool down the sector. But now the wording seemed to be less confrontational for some of these investors. And regarding local government debt, from strictly controlled hidden debt to optimized debt levels. So this kind of hints a little bit maybe that there's less regulation, maybe they have achieved a couple of their goals already, and now in the future we may see actually less of it. At least the wording is quite better here. Regarding currency, steady the exchange rate at reasonable level. So this is also calling for some of the support for the renminbi against the dollar. And regarding the stock market, promote activities to increase the index from its current level. So all in all, a couple of positive announcements, and more importantly from the right people here in the views of investors. And I think this might be the real reason why the entire space is up. Now a little bit to individual names, and I promised that I tell you a little bit more about NIO. And NIO is up 12% right now, and it's kind of hitting this blue line, the blue downwards trend line of this chart, which I have actually posted weeks ago in my Patreon community, and you can see those two big red arrows, because I think NIO is right now at this point meeting a major resistance from a technical perspective. So I don't know how much of today's volume in NIO stock trading is actually also part of a little bit of a short coverage. So I also pointed out on Twitter before that there's a record amount of more than 116 million shares short the stock. They're betting against the stock. They think they can buy the stock back cheaper. And maybe some of these investors who have sold NIO stock, so meaning they are not owning it, have decided to buy it back at the current levels instead of keeping it short. However, if you just look at this technical level, as I mentioned, like this is a very big resistance right now. This would be the ideal level where they might want to double down on a short bet, right? I think short hedge funds might be looking now at this level and actually start a new short position, double down on their short position. I think this is the level to do it, unfortunately. So that means if you are a trader, you might want to think about whether or not the rally is ending here or not. On the other hand, maybe you've also watched my video earlier today. We have deliveries coming up, and I've talked about what this might actually mean for the stock price, and I think it's opening up some stock price targets that are well above the current levels actually. So even if we get a setback here and maybe the shorts are doubling down on their bets and thereby depressing the share price a bit, maybe we get some disappointing numbers tomorrow, so they can actually short the stock on negative news, then true long investors may still see this as an opportunity and just stay invested. I think only the fact that this is a technical level to kind of sell the stock or short the stock doesn't mean one really has to do that. It may actually also be the other way, that tomorrow we get some very great news and the stock will continue its rally because of the delivery numbers are well above the expectations. Or it could even mean that deliveries don't play a role at all, just given the broader context that I just mentioned about the Chinese internet space. Because if you're just watching some of the pair trades here between QQQ and CQQQ, for example, so comparing the US and China, you can see that there is just no limit of underperformance for Chinese equities here. Also, for example, if you compare here KWeb and ARK Invest, usually that would have been the trading range between those two yellow lines here, and it even went out of this trading range and kept an underperformance for Chinese names here. So we are that short China in general because of all of the negativity out there towards Chinese names. And so, this could provide a lot of fuel for a rally in Chinese names, right? So it's not necessary that NIO needs to react on some of these delivery numbers or so on. I'm just saying, just if we're looking at the chart here, this was a remarkable run for NIO today, and parts of it might be due to shorts covering. However, be aware that they might try again. Let's see how it turns out. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please smash a like, share the video, and then see you in my next video.